The perfect workout when you were 20 or 30 isn't the same workout you'll need after 40. While there will be similarities, there are a few key changes you'll have to make as you get older to ensure you're maximizing muscle growth. And that's exactly what I want to share with you in this video, what the perfect workout looks like for men over 40. The ideal balance between hard work and recovery so that you can grow as fast as possible while avoiding any speed bumps in the process. And make sure you watch till the end because I'm going to give you the exact workout you can follow. So without further ado, let's jump right in. First, you must train every muscle at least 2 times per week. One study comparing lifters doing 9 sets once per week and lifters doing 3 sets 3 times per week found that the higher frequency group experienced nearly double the muscle growth despite doing the same total volume. This is because rep quality matters. Let's take a look at what happens when you cram all 12 sets into one chest workout. You start the workout fresh and primed for maximum performance. With each working set, fatigue builds up, which gradually diminishes the quality of each rep, even if you're able to complete the set. After a point, each set is taking more than it's giving. It's junk volume that is causing more fatigue and less muscle growth stimulus. Now take those same 12 sets spread across 3 sessions. As you can see, you're performing more of those sets in a prime state, resulting in higher quality reps. Not only are you stimulating more muscle growth, but you're mitigating fatigue, which improves recovery and allows you to build muscle and push harder next week. Another benefit of high frequency training is that it allows you to add more volume without hammering you into the ground. This is important because as we age, our muscles become less responsive to training, a phenomenon known as anabolic resistance. This means that we may actually need more volume, not less, like most people believe. One 2012 study investigated how different training volumes and intensities affect muscle protein synthesis in young and older men. Both groups lifted weights at light or heavy intensity, doing 3 sets and then 6 sets. While the younger guys only saw a small 50% increase in muscle protein synthesis by doubling their sets, older men experienced a whopping 110% increase. This isn't to say that we need to double our training volume to build muscle after 40, but it does tell us that more volume helps overcome anabolic resistance in aging muscle. The next thing we need is more output and less fatigue. The sad truth is, a lot of popular exercises ask too much of your stabilizers and not enough of the muscle you're trying to grow. And sure, that might have been okay in your 20s, but now it just limits how far you can push the target muscle, resulting in slower progress. Less external stability means more fatigue and less growth-producing tension in the target muscle. That's where machines and smarter exercise variations come in. Take, for example, the chest press machine. Its guided movement means less wasted energy on stabilizing the bar. The hack squat and leg press, while still great for your legs, don't require the spinal load you get from a barbell squat. The trap bar deadlift, which is just as effective for the posterior chain as a traditional deadlift, is easier on the lower back. And when it comes to free weight rows, adding chest support allows you to focus on the back muscles without your lower back becoming the limiting factor. And yes, research states that stable, guided lifts can build just as much muscle and strength as free weights. In fact, I would argue that they build more muscle in the long run due to the reduced recovery demands. And no, this isn't about going soft, it's about training efficiently. If an exercise keeps you stuck or in pain, then it's not worth doing. Choose lifts that allow you to focus on the target muscle, not the synergists, stabilizers, and certainly not your joints. Third, we need to train with a high degree of effort. The harder you push, the stronger the muscle building signal. Thus, if you want to maximize your growth from each set, you need to push close close to failure. And if you think you're already pushing hard enough, consider this. Studies show that lifters often underestimate how many reps they have left by up to 30%. That means what feels like your last good rep might actually be at least 3 to 5 reps away from true failure. And that gap is the difference between whether or not your muscles will grow. The question then becomes, how close to failure should we train? For best results, I'd recommend leaving 1 or 2 reps in reserve. While you may be able to get away with pushing to absolute failure on smaller isolation movements, especially during the final set, I'd recommend leaving around 2 reps in reserve for heavier compound lifts. Just remember that in most cases, you will be able to do more than you think. If you're stopping your set at the first sign of discomfort, it's like quitting the race on the final lap. Next, we need to train in the ideal rep range. One study on older lifters found that lifting at 60 to 90% of their 1 rep max triggered far greater spikes in muscle protein synthesis compared to lighter loads. And while muscle protein synthesis barely moved when going from 20% to 40%, it surged once loads hit 60%. In other words, lifting too light means a weaker anabolic response. On the flip side, pushing past 90% will force you to rely on stabilizers and supporting muscles to safely move the weight. Again, you don't want to spread the effort too much across every muscle involved in the lift. You want to concentrate the stimulus on the one you're trying to grow the most, but the heavier you go, the harder this becomes. To keep things simple, I recommend keeping your compound lifts in the 6 to 8 rep range and your smaller isolation movements around 8 to 12. This isn't to say you can't build muscle with 3 reps or that going as high as 15 is a waste of time, but rather that the majority of your work is best kept around that sweet spot of 6 to 12 reps. The perfect workout should also have clear rules for progression. First and foremost, for progress to be objective and measurable, pick one method and stick to it. Also, keep in mind that progression is the result of doing things right, and most guys screw it up by trying to add weight or volume before they've earned it. With that in mind, you don't want to count sloppy reps at a heavier weight as progressive overload. True progression only counts when your execution stays consistent. That means the same range of motion, same cadence, and same control. If you bench press 225 pounds last week and this week you did 235 but your form sucked, this isn't actual progress. This is why a good program tracks more than just reps and weight. Track how you moved and how clean your form was. Just because you did more weight or performed more reps doesn't mean you've made progress. I'll say it again, just because you did more weight or more reps, it doesn't mean you've made progress. So before you rush to add another plate to the bar, ask yourself, did this set match the standards of last week's? Progress doesn't always mean more weight or reps. Sometimes it could simply mean lifting the same weight with better form. Another thing we want to do is standardize rest periods. Studies have shown that resting longer between sets improves performance, execution, and overall workload. In fact, one study showed that resting 3 minutes between sets resulted in significantly more muscle growth than resting for 1 minute, even with the same exercises and rep schemes. And another study found that 5-minute rest resulted in nearly double the muscle protein synthesis response compared to 1-minute rests. You see, short rest periods exacerbate fatigue, which is what you're supposed to be recovering from in the first place. In contrast, longer rest periods allow fatigue to dissipate and neuromuscular function to reset, which pays off in several ways. For one, your muscles get the time they need to replenish ATP, the primary fuel for intense contractions. You also give your body the chance to clear out metabolic byproducts like lactate and hydrogen ions, reducing that deep muscular burn that limits rep quality and quantity. Finally, your nervous system gets a chance to recover. That reset allows for better motor unit recruitment, meaning more muscle fibers are activated with each rep. Another key piece of the perfect workout is respecting the 48-hour recovery window. You don't build muscle during your workout, you build it after. And if you hit the same muscle group 2 days in a row, you're interrupting the adaptation process. That's why well-structured training splits like a 4-day upper-lower work so well. This is especially true for men over 40 since recovery tends to decline with age. A training split that allows you to train hard without the overlap allows the adaptation process to take place, ensuring that you're primed and ready to go for the next session. And if you're still struggling to build muscle, then grab a free copy of my latest program, Mass 40. This is a 6-week training guide specifically created for men over 40 who want to take their physique to the next level. And right now, you can grab a copy completely free. Just click the link in the description, enter your name and email, and get instant access. Did you find this video helpful? If so, click the like button below, and I'll see you in the next video.